This is the story of a fisherman named John, who, as usual, sets out to sea in his small boat to catch fish. But something different happens that day. Suddenly, a thick fog rolls in, and visibility is reduced to almost nothing. John loses his way, and while drifting aimlessly, he spots a deserted boat. Out of curiosity, he ties his boat to it and decides to go inside and investigate. As soon as he enters the boat, he is stunned. The entire boat was empty. No people, no sounds. Just an eerie silence. When John entered the mysterious boat, everything seemed perfectly normal. The food was fresh, the clothes were neatly arranged, and there were signs of human presence everywhere. But there was no one there. He tries to start the boat, but the engine doesn't work. John is bewildered to see a large, empty boat in the middle of the vast ocean. He tries to look around with binoculars, hoping to spot someone nearby, but the thick fog had obscured everything. Disheartened, he returns to the control room and switches on the radio, intending to send a distress signal. John sends a message over the radio. "This boat is stranded at sea. Is anyone listening? Please respond." After sending the message, he thinks he should return to his small boat. But when he goes outside, his boat is gone, even though he had tied it securely. His surprise increases when he sees that the thick fog that had surrounded him has suddenly cleared, and the sky is completely clear. It was now midday. John couldn't understand what was happening. Seeing no other way to return, he goes back to the empty ship and tries to find his way using a map. John now tries to figure out where he is and how he can get back home. The problem was that the engine of the mysterious boat was broken. If he wanted to survive, he had to fix the engine at all costs. He searches the entire ship for a toolbox, and after much effort, manages to fix the engine. It was a huge relief for him. The boat was now running, and he was slowly getting his bearings. But the danger wasn't over. John goes to the control room and tries to contact someone via radio again. But this time, too, there's no response. Everything was still shrouded in mystery. Then the boy comes up and suddenly needs to go to the toilet. There was no one around, so he thinks he'll just go in the sea. As soon as he goes to the edge, someone suddenly pushes him from behind. He falls straight into the water. The situation was extremely dangerous, but he somehow managed to save himself from drowning by grabbing onto a reel. The force of the wind and water was so strong that it became difficult to get back to the boat. But he didn't give up. He gathered his courage and slowly pulled himself back onto the boat using the reel. In the midst of all this, he hadn't finished his business, so he went to the toilet again. As soon as he got inside, someone suddenly slammed the door shut. John initially thought it was the wind and didn't pay attention, but when he tried to get out, he found that the door was locked from the inside. Now he was astonished. He tried everything to open the door. He even took a coin out of his pocket and tried to pick the lock, but it was all in vain. Now he began to feel that he wasn't alone on this ship. There was someone who was bothering him, someone invisible, but always present. He felt as if someone was playing a cruel game with him. He shouted loudly, "Please, whoever you are, open the door. I'm not a thief. I just came to look around." But there was no answer. Now he understood that hoping for help was useless. He headed towards the cabin, and what he saw inside made his blood run cold. There were bloodstains. The atmosphere was terrifying. But he ignored his fear and picked up a pair of scissors to try and open the door. But the lock still wouldn't open. Suddenly, the entire boat began to shake violently, as if something big was about to happen. John was terrified. Then his eyes fell on a window above. He somehow managed to climb out of the window and looked around. In the distance, a massive cargo ship was approaching. Its course was directly towards his boat. John realized that if the ship collided with his boat, everything would be over. Now he had to save his life at all costs. He thought of signaling for help, but he had nothing. He quickly took off his shirt and started waving it frantically so that someone on the cargo ship might see him. But unfortunately, Despite his efforts, no one noticed him. Now John had to save his life no matter what. If his boat continued on its course, it would collide with the cargo ship, and everything would be lost. Then his eyes fell on a rope hanging near the window. An idea immediately struck him. If he used this rope, perhaps he could stop the ship. He quickly tied the rope and threw it out to slow down the boat. But things only got worse. The rope got caught in the engine's propeller and, pulling taut, came back into the bathroom and wrapped around his neck. He started to suffocate. On the verge of death, he mustered his courage and freed himself with a tool. His neck was completely red. He had almost died, but managed to save himself at the last moment. The rope was still caught in the engine, which slowed the ship down. But it wasn't enough. The massive cargo ship still collided with him. The powerful impact shook his boat violently, and John fell to the ground, unconscious. He had a deep gash on his head. After some time, when he regained consciousness, he saw that the bathroom was filled with water. But the most surprising thing was that it wasn't salty seawater, but perfectly clean, fresh water, as if someone was deliberately trying to scare him.
Like, share and subscribe, hit the bell icon to watch the video first.